like I said in the beginning, I'll be talking about maternity benefits. Um, the maternity benefit provisions are now covered under the Code on Social Security 2020. This code also includes provisions on provident fund, state insurance, employees' compensation for workmen's accidents. It's like encompassing all provisions from all those separate acts earlier. They've brought it under one act, and it's the Code on Social Security. The provisions related to maternity benefit have now been covered under Section 59 to Section 72 of the code. It's not a separate act, it's just in one code. And they've literally just, compressed all the provisions of the Maternity Act and then put it in the code. Uh, Mostly with respect to maternity benefit, the provisions mirror the 1961 Act, the act which was amended later, and also brings in the 2017 amendments also. So it's literally they've just mirrored the act and put it in the code. The compliances, let me go over what are the compliances under the code. The maternity benefit, the Code on Social Security prescribes that the provisions for maternity benefit have now to be provided if your establishment has 10 or more employees. Here, it's important to note that it's not 10 or more women, it's 10 or more employees. So if you're just one woman in an establishment with 10 people, then you have to comply and provide maternity benefit. It's important to note that regarding ESIC, earlier under the Maternity Benefit Act, if an employee was getting benefits through an ESIC fund, then they wouldn't be eligible to an organization's maternity benefit. But however, now they've clearly specified in the Code of Wages that the ESIC benefit will only apply if it is below the wage limit prescribed by the ESIC fund. So if an employee draws wages higher than that limit, then they will be eligible for maternity benefit. It does not mean that if an organization is covered by the ESIC fund, then that person won't get maternity benefit under the organization. They have clearly come up with that demarcation now. Earlier definitions of employer continue. However, they've added in within an employer now includes a contractor or a legal representative of a deceased employer. Like before, maternity benefit was calculated was the average of wages of 3 months before the date that the female employee was absent. That is, if a female employee is taking maternity leave for say 8 months, then she would be eligible to maternity benefit, which is the average of the wages for the immediately 3 months before she started taking the maternity leave. That has stayed the same. However, the definition of wages now, they have excluded some factors, some components, such as incentive bonuses, overtime earnings, fines, contributions to pension, provident fund, and gratuity. Now, this earlier, the definition of wages was all encompassing, but now they've started making certain aspects which are not covered within maternity, within the definition of wages for maternity benefit. This probably is because the Code on Social Security has one definition for wages, which applies for provident fund, which applies for ESIC, applies for workplace accidents, workplace compensation of accidents. So that's why there is this confusion that why is the definition for maternity benefit also, why isn't there why do they have these exclusions? Maybe that is something that we'll see that will change in the rules when they actually get passed. Like before, maternity leave, a female employee was entitled to 26 weeks under the code, where 8 weeks may be availed before delivery and 12 weeks if the employee has 2 or more children. It's very important to know that it's 2 or more children, not 2 or more pregnancies. So even if you've had a miscarriage the second time, but you didn't have children, you will still be eligible for the 26 weeks of maternity leave. Uh, the most important aspect is that the Maternity Benefit Act and the Code of Social Security prohibits organizations from employing women 6 weeks after the delivery. Now, this is very crucial for all organizations to follow. They should ensure that women after delivery get at least 6 months or 6 weeks of leave post the delivery. And a change that the Code of Wages brought about was regarding a medical bonus. The Maternity Benefit Act earlier provided for a medical bonus of 3,500 rupees and said that the maximum bonus that you can give, that an organization can give, is 20,000 rupees. But now the Code on Social Security did away with this ceiling of 20,000 rupees. Uh, Again, like the Maternity Benefit Act, now again, there's now leave for women who are adopting and women who are having children through surrogacy. There is a 12-week leave. But however, it's very important to remember that under the Maternity Benefit Act, if you're adopting, you will be only entitled to maternity benefit if your child is under 3 months age, which is very rare because it's actually difficult to adopt a child who's under 3 months of age because the process itself will take time. So this is probably something that we're expecting will change with the rules. Um, like the earlier provisions under the Maternity Benefit Act, creche facilities and nursing facilities have to be provided to female employees. However, now it's clearly written that creche facilities have to be provided where an organization has more than 50 people who are working. Again, it's important to remember that it's 50 people and not 50 women. So even if your organization has just 50 and you're the only woman, you still need to have a creche facility if you have a child. Again, the code also allows for organizations, understands that it's difficult for companies to provide creche facilities because it's expensive. So it's authorizing organizations to actually avail services from other creches and give mothers a discount. However, the rules have certain stipulations. The rules earlier had certain stipulations regarding how far this creche can be, how many breaks do you give women? And that's what we're expecting to see once the rules actually come for the code on social security. Um, like the Maternity Benefit Act, under the Code on Social Security also, post-delivery work from home facilities can be availed by women. However, this requires the employer and employee to consent to such a facility. The employers are also bound to inform employees by placing rules in a prominent part of the organization, and also they require to inform their employees electronically through email when they're at the beginning of their employment.